Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the GGB Supplier Showcase. As always, I'm your host, Jess Marquez, and I'm so pleased to be joined today by two new guests, two first-timers, none other than Tal Rubinstein and Mikhail Gaushkin, co-founders of Hey7, a new AI-powered player development platform that we will talk all about today. How are you guys doing today?
Great. Thank you for having us, Jess.
Doing fantastic. Thank you, Jess.
Definitely. And and speaking with you guys, before we came on air, you were talking about how this platform was built on the belief that, every valuable player deserves meaningful and personalized attention. But obviously no human team can provide that level of engagement at scale. The platform is kind of designed obviously to combine gaming, behavioral, conversational intelligence to kind of help companies identify and develop tomorrow's VIPs. So we're going to touch on many different aspects of the product and the technology behind it. But one of the interesting things is that I can't help but feel generally, as somebody as I do who speaks to a large swath of the industry across different sectors, that AI is really kind of slow to be adopted, to be implemented, at least in the ways that we see in other industries. And in player development, that's one of the real cornerstones of the industry where I think the technology can be most transformative. And that's kind of where I want to start. And obviously you, Mikhail, you've been in the industry for a long time. You've been around a long time, seen a lot. And player development, obviously, as we said, has been one of the core functions of the industry for a long time. But how would you kind of categorize its evolution, its development over the last, say 20 years?
That's a great question, Jess. The tools surrounding player development have improved, but the operating model has not fundamentally changed. It still depends heavily on a meaningful relationship an individual host can personally manage. Casinos have more data than ever, but many valuable players still receive very limited personalized attention. Emerging premium players are often identified only after they have already crossed the traditional threshold. This is the gap we saw. Player development has gained more data, but it has not gained more capacity.
Interesting. And so I'll switch to Tal now. So why now? Why is the right time? Why is now the right time to build the platform, and kind of why did you guys to decide to go all in on Hey7?
Well, it's the perfect timing because, like you mentioned, right, the industry is lagging behind. Everybody's talking about digital transformation. Like, there's no escaping it. Everybody has to do it now. Digital transformation means that everybody realizes that data is a language that we speak, right? We have to speak data. I also always say that data is the antidote to self-delusion, which is so important in any industry. The really cool thing about AI and where tech is today is that those who are going through digital transformation actually can afford to skip a few steps if they use AI correctly. And what I mean by AI correctly, I mean companies like Hey7, that we are AI native. The foundation has been built AI. We're not dressing some legacy system with AI, and that's transformative. That's a real competitive edge.
Well, it's interesting, and I want to stick with you just for 1 second because you mentioned data as a language, which I think is interesting. And you guys mentioned that other systems may look at players, but Hey7 talks to players. So kind of could you expand on that a little bit? Is that kind of what you mean by that?
Well, it's not what I meant by that. I meant data as language when we do
Gotcha.
digital transformation. But
Sure.
I'll touch upon what you asked. I mean, data is our eyes, our ears, or everything in the business, right? And the beautiful thing about this industry is that it has a lot of data, a lot of data. Yes, it's a little bit fragmented at the moment, but when you put it together, this unified data platform, that's a 360 on your customers, on your players, that very few other industries actually have. So it's a huge advantage. That's what I mean by data as a language. It means that it's a way to understand the world of our players without actually having to talk to them. The cool thing about Hey7, and that's really one of the things that differentiates us, is that we're actually also the interaction layer, which means we have this feedback loop into the data that nobody else has. And what I mean by it is that we don't just record what a player did on the casino floor, how much you played, where did you go. That's data points, super important. That's data. Those are data points that help us make, business insights. That's BI, right? BI is not just reporting. What we're able to do is to leverage those data points, interact with the player, actually speak to them and get that feedback loop, not just what players did, what the data shows, how they felt about it, how did it affect them, what are they going to do next, what motivates them, right? That's key. That's the EQ that we're talking about in K7.
Well, it's interesting, and I think, there's no matter who I talk to really in industry from whatever side that they come from, they almost always say that, the industry may be slow to adopt AR. It may not have come really to the extent in other industries, but the data is there, or like what the building blocks for it to be used in a real way are definitely there. It's just a matter of connecting the pieces and kind of making that a reality. Turning back to Mikhail for a second, does Hey7 replace casino hosts, or does it make them, more effective, or kind of give them more tools?
No, K7 does not replace casino hosts. The future of player development is having AI capabilities that help casino hosts. As you might know, a lot of casino hosts spend a lot of their time trying to coordinate some of the reservations, some of the ticket requests, and a variety of other manual administrative tasks. And yes, they have coordinators that helping them and a variety of other team members. But now AI has reached a level where it can do a lot of those tasks for the host, giving hosts an opportunity to spend more time with the players when they're on property, to spend more time when they're talking to them on the phone, and eliminate a lot of those, call it, administrative tasks to systems like K7, and being able to truly do what it great player development is having those personal communication, personal connections to those customers, and really helping them enjoy their journeys with us.
So that's interesting, and I'll turn to Tal now, and kind of along the same lines. But what are some of the biggest misconceptions about AI in gaming? What are some of the questions that you find yourself having to to answer, or the fires to put out, so to speak?
I think the biggest misconception is that AI will replace all humans. And I've been asked that a lot, especially in my previous roles, leading digital transformation. The way we feel is that no, this is not happening now, especially not all humans and all roles. But I 100% believe that people using AI will replace people not using AI. Think about it like the horse and the car, right? People who would refuse to use a car and would still, commute with horses, it's nice, but they're probably going to be left behind. I see it that way. And I think that's the biggest misconception, because it makes people fear technology. And technology is the future. It enhances us. It makes us better. It doesn't replace us. And I think it's a huge opportunity that needs to be embraced rather than feared.
Definitely, and like you said, it's an individual thing, but it's also a company-wide thing, right? Because a company has to be embracing of the technology, or at least open to it, and enhancing its operations, and that's really what's going to determine a lot of the the winners and losers that may come. For Mikhail, and we talk about a lot of the benefits, but beyond just guest engagement, what are some of the other kinds of operational intelligence or metrics that the platform provides?
Yes, for sure. If you think about what we do, right? We combine the gaming intelligence that we get from the operator. We also combine with the behavioral intelligence and conversational intelligence. So those three pieces are the ones that create a complete customer profile, and that's what it helps us to really be able to help operators to drive incremental behavior from the customers, but also reach to the potential emerging VIPs ahead of time, and being ahead of while they're still on property most of the time, being ahead of it and being able to convert those pre-VIPs into VIPs sooner.
That's very interesting, and it's kind of funny. I'm just thinking in my head now that if you ever need your platform to test out who's not going to be a VIP, you could just put it on my account, and that'll tell you right away I'm not going to be. That'll be a very easy test for your platform. But kind of to touching more on kind of this customization, or kind of the multifaceted nature of the platform, I want to ask you, Tal. What are some of the how does kind of responsible gambling fit into this, and kind of what are some of the operator specific guardrail? Can different companies kind of make their own, kind of set their own guardrails for this?
Yeah, maybe I'll give you a little bit more, expand on that.
Sure.
Hey7 is a platform. We have 7 core value props, 7 core skills that orchestrate together to bring the biggest, value to the property. And when we go through those 7 skills, and I'll mention them in a minute, we work with the operator in onboarding, and we configure them specifically to that operator because each of them makes a difference. It's different for each. The first one is the premium engagement. The fact that we can do hyper-personalized engagement at scale, that's really the technology, right? It's hyper-personalized, it's 24/7, it's cross-platform context. Talk to us anywhere, anytime, any language, and it's still hyper-personalized. The second thing is the upsell, right? So the fact that we're there 24/7 means that we can upsell and cross-sell the right moment. But what are we upselling and cross-selling? That's a configuration feature. We sit with the operator and we understand, what are your touch points? How do you want to do cross revenue? How do you want to orchestrate the way the revenue flows? We're able to impact that. The third thing, and I love it, it's one of our biggest differentiators, is EQ. Everybody's talking about gaming analytics, IQ, right? What happened? How do you look at the data, the analytic models? Super interesting, right? But we're not all the same, even if our numbers look the same. And that is what, player development experts call the art, right? If we were all the same just by numbers, right? Anybody who's 44 in the world is exactly like me. No, right? That's the art of interaction, of human interaction. I just totally gave my age away. But yes, I'm 44 and I'm different, right? We're different, all different. We need to be treated and personalized, be personalized differently. By understanding that differentiation, because we do that EQ, those human emotional touch points, we're able to come back to the markets and say, don't reinvest in big batches of segments, right? Because if I'm in a losing streak, I want a day at the spa. Mikhail, on the other hand, maybe we both look the same on, the numbers, but Mikhail doesn't want a day at the spa. Well, maybe he does. But for this example, he wants some more free play, right? The fact that we can do that reinvestment optimization by understanding the human part is really a differentiator. So that also is configurable because we sit with the operator and say, where are the guardrails? How much are we able to play and let Hey7 learn from the feedback loop and get smarter within that in order to really optimize the reinvestment? The PVIP signals, Mikhail touched upon that. I'm not going to go a bit more on that, but huge opportunity. What happens below the VIP threshold, right? And that VIP threshold is different for every operator, also configurable. The RG, the way the policy and the compliance of each operator is different. RG is is forged into our architecture, one of our 7 core value props. Super important. We want to help the operator, be compliant, and that's what we do, but we configure it to that internal policy. And last but not least, the most important metric is the monetization uplift. I say it all the time, AI has become a buzzword. So much fluff. Everybody's talking about AI. Not enough AI ROI. Where do the operators who invest in the technology see the ROI? Where does it hit their bottom line? So when we come to our operators, we say, okay, everything that we just talked about is nice. It's amazing, actually. But if you don't see a monetization uplift, if you don't see a difference between the 7 engaged group, the group that Hey7 engaged with, and the control group, we're just a buzzword. Sorry, that was a bit much, but I wanted to give you kind of the entire scope.
No, I love it. I love it, and I think it's definitely right. As somebody who sits on, whether it's a lot of company presentations, a lot of earnings calls, so on and so forth, I think I would definitely agree that AI is definitely a buzzword, and definitely now the tone is shifting now from like, hey, I have this new AI thing to, hey, here's what this AI thing is doing for me, right? And I wanted to stay with you for just 1 second and just kind of talk about like. It sounds as though that this platform was kind of developed, or maybe not. Please tell me if I'm wrong. But I know you guys have a lot of experience across both the land-based and the digital side of the industry. What is this platform native to? Is it tailored toward one side or the other, towards the land-based or digital, or is it kind of just meant to be all encompassing?
It's both. It's a 2-market problem.
Sure.
Yes, there are some nuances with how the solution is implemented, but the fact that we do this at scale for online, for land-based, and omni gives us a huge advantage. we actually understand how to do player development at scale.
Definitely, definitely. Well, I want to turn to you, Mikhail, now and kind of ask you, this is kind of a broad question, obviously, but one that I think fits well in the scope of our discussion. But when you look ahead, what do you hope to change about the industry? Again, as somebody who's been around, has been at a few different stops now, you've seen a lot of the evolution of the industry. What do you hope that this technology and this platform can do for the industry, and what kind of changes it can bring?
Sure. Yeah, we want every valuable player to receive meaningful, personalized attention. Personalization at scale, that's something I truly believe, and in other industry it became the norm. In gaming industry, personalization at scale, it's still in the evolution. So being able to provide personalization at scale, to me that's extremely important. And helping human to become like a superhuman using AI and being able to manage and more customers, manage more tasks, and being able to produce results for their property at scale again, that's very exciting for me.
Definitely. I'm envisioning like a bat, the bat signal. I'm envisioning like a 7, just in the air, just like, help, I need help. So I don't know why that came to my head for some reason. But
yeah, the future is not AI or humans. The future is great people empowered by great AI.
Definitely, definitely. Well, this has been very great. I had one more for you. Thank you guys for taking the time, as always. I wanted to get you out of here, and this can be either or, if either of you want to chime in, or if you both want to give an answer. But what do you think is the one thing that every operator should know in terms of the future of player development?
Most of the information is stored in the host's head or their cell phone, and that's about it. So when that player development executive retires or moves to a different property, etc., unfortunately, all that intelligence most of it is lost. So by Hey7 being able to provide that information to operator, and operator owning that data always stays with the operator. So in the instance when the person retires, etc., all the information is still there, and providing the same type of excellent personalization at scale. That's number one for me. Yeah.
I would add to that I think a lot of our special, unique talents as humans are being lost when we're buried and sitting behind a desk and like buried in like coordination, like mundane tasks, where the technology is there. So for operators that believe that player development is an art, I think most of them believe, because it's driving more than 80% of the revenue, right? We don't need to convince anybody that that's a huge and important, significant part of the business. The fact that Hey7 comes in and can free up their hosts, their talent to do those human interaction moments, because right now AI is not taking you out for steak. But if your host is sitting behind a desk, 85% of their time, where's the magic? Where's the experience? Where's the relationship being built? And that's really how we see that, future of player development: human interaction, emotional moments, bonding to the brand, and that connection that humans need to carry on, but AI can actually enable them to do it at scale.
Definitely. Well, it's like I said throughout the interview, I definitely I think that this is right along the type of thing that is at the very, very cutting edge of the industry in terms of solving problems that people have. I get to listen to a lot of different people's problems from all over the industry, and I think that this is definitely along the lines of what a lot of people are working towards, for sure. If anybody out there is interested or may want to learn more, how can they find you guys? How can they get in touch?
Absolutely. Obviously, LinkedIn is a great source to connect and get a hold of me. Please visit Hey7.ai as well. You not only you're going to learn more about Hey7, but also check out our insights section. How we think about the space, how we think about the future, etc. Yeah, those are the two main channels for me. Tal?
No, same. Look me up on LinkedIn. We're always happy to connect.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys again. This has been great. Again, I know it's coordinating across countries and time zones and et cetera, et cetera. So thank you guys again, and hope to talk again soon.
Thank you, Jess. I appreciate it. Thank you. Bye-bye.